16th and not doing a live stream on Friday the 17th because it's been a rough week. So I'm just going to get down to the nitty gritty. This week, one of the things that came up I wanted to mention was we had more Tether FUD. If you're not familiar with Tether, Tether is a stable coin. What is a stable coin? If you don't know what a stable coin is, the idea is that there is a token issued on a blockchain network, and for every token out there, there is supposed to be $1 in reserve someplace, a bank account, what have you, that backs it. The idea is that there is something that actually backs that token. And the idea is that it stays pegged to $1. Now, going over here to CoinGecko, a little bit of background. Right now, current circulating supply, 87 billion. So there's 87 billion Tether in circulation. And I believe this would be just on, I'm not sure if this is for just on the Ethereum blockchain. It's also available and very popular on the Tron blockchain. If you'd seen Peter McCormack's documentary on inflation in Argentina, they talk a lot about how they prefer to use transfer and purchase dollars using Tether, if you're using crypto, on the Tron blockchain because the fees are significantly lower. So a little bit of history. Tether was the first stablecoin minted in 2017 on the Ethereum blockchain. It's available on Ethereum, Tron, EOS, Liquid, and Algorand. And it's also the team behind Tether is the team behind Bitfinex. If you're on Twitter, there is an account, Bitfinex, 'D, which has been a part of the sounding the warning bells of systemic risk that Tether poses. Now, to go into this further, ever since its early days, there's always been, it seems like there's been a cry about systemic risk from Tether because there was never clear disclosure by the team. There's never been a full, straightforward audit where there's been an audit of their books. It was always obfuscation where Tether would get an affidavit of proof of reserves or something obscure that moves the ball a little forward and still maintains a little bit of trust, but doesn't really disclose to the full extent people would like. And when people would look at the extent of Tether, because Tether is used as an exchange token on pretty much every exchange, it's ubiquitous with the ecosystem the same way that Ethereum and Bitcoin is on centralized exchanges. It's also very popular to use with DeFi applications using a stable coin as a trading currency. It's also popular with usage as a store of value in less prosperous nations where, because it's dollar denominated, it's as people treat it as good as dollars. And because it's on a blockchain, it makes it that much easier that you have a digital form of money that is usable and transferable pretty much anywhere in the world. Over the years, as the ecosystem has grown and as the scrutiny has grown, Tether's been a little bit more forthcoming with where its money is, its reserves. It's got some money in Bitcoin. It has a lot of US treasuries. It does issue a certain amount as far as loans. If we were to look at, we'll go over to CoinDesk here, just reported they have excess reserves, but they have secured loans. So there's systemic risk because you have third-party risk and you don't know what's going to happen to these loans. They own gold, they own other notes. And the way Tether is created is that someone would go to the Tether, to the managing foundation, and provide US dollars to them. Those tokens would then be minted, the money be collected, the tokens are minted, and then we have new tokens issued in existence. And there's been a lot of criticism, and parallels drawn that in previous bull cycles, when the price of Bitcoin has gone up, there's also been a correlation to the amount of Tether that's been minted, sort of hinting at that Tether was used to purchase Bitcoin. There was somehow where people were using Tether as the conduit to purchase Bitcoin, either through an exchange or some other indirect means. And then there was a question that because of the third-party risk, because we didn't have full transparency of their books, that if all of a sudden we found out Tether's managing organization were to have an FTX type of event, things could just come collapsing down because you've got $97 billion worth of tokens used in all these different applications and all these different places suddenly being worth nothing. Would it be a Terra Luna event? I don't know. And there's always been the FUD about Tether's going to take down the ecosystem. Well, I think today it would have an impact if suddenly it went kaplooey. I think part of the growth in stablecoins with USDC, you've got Circles, you've got Coinbases, you've got several other Paxos, PayPal, a few others out there. So the money that would have been concentrated in Tether has been spread around to different coins on different chains. So that would mitigate some of the systemic risk. But still, we haven't had a full audit. But at the same time, too, I feel like with Tether that the danger is still there, but it's not as bad as it could have been. I don't know. We'll have to see about that. So that remains to be seen. And then I was going to go into further details this week talking about the Fold card, but instead I'm working on a video. So with that, I'm going to just wrap up and leave it short and sweet, discussion on Tether. So stay tuned if you go to TinyCryptoBlog.com. If you follow on Facebook, if you follow on the website itself, you can subscribe either through WordPress or by email. And I do have the weekend post having videos of the week, the headlines and the weekend summary, important tweets, things to give you information to kind of give you a high-level look of what's going on in the space. And if you want to read the articles and read the nitty-gritty, you can do that. Or if you just want to skim the basic headlines, it's worth it because I go through a lot of sources to compile this and help you get a better feel for what's going on in the space. You can follow Tiny Crypto Blog on all the different social media and online sites listed in the show notes. And with that, be well, everyone. Talk to you soon. Okay. And okay, we're back live. Thanks for stepping in. Yeah, originally I wasn't going to be doing a live stream because yesterday I thought, okay, if I'm this tired today, imagine what I'm going to feel like tomorrow. Well, lo and behold, I'm here. I made it through the week. I hope you did too. And what's got me so excited and energized is that two of the apps that I use, the Fold app, the Fold card, and also Strike, they've got new news that dropped this week, and they're just killing it. They just can't stop winning. So let's go first over to Strike because I feel like I'm going to talk a little bit more with the Fold app. So Strike, let's get the screen save going over here. We want to go over here. I'm going to share this tab. So Strike. What is Strike? Strike is basically an app. It's primarily used for money sending,
where you can use the app to send money to any user, any in the world, for basically free. And the way it works is when you normally send money through an app or something, you're sending money through the SWIFT network, which is the global interbanking system. With the Fold card, what you're doing is you are using an app where you use, instead of using the SWIFT network, you're using the Bitcoin Lightning Network, which the Lightning Network is a application that's built on top of Bitcoin. It's similar to a lot of the layer 2 coins and solutions built on top of Ethereum, where you're able to get faster transactions with a lower cost, etc. And what makes it nice is that you can send money pretty much instantaneously everywhere around the world, where you go from your bank to the app, and then the bridge is the Lightning Network, where it's instantaneous, and then boom, to their bank. And then what's really nice about it, that I've used it for, is that the app, it is the best way to buy Bitcoin. It's one of the best ways, because you can set up set up Strike, where you can do a DCA, either daily, weekly, monthly, hourly, and you can do it, yes, for as little as 1 penny. You can, I'd put in, say, $4 a day, $5 a day. And they're integrating new elements into it. Where do they have the announcement here or no? No, they don't. But what they're doing, and their big news that dropped today, Jack Mallers, if you're familiar with Bitcoin in El Salvador, that's our guy. He announced that they have finally have their on-ramps for outside the United States. If you're a non-U.S. citizen or non-U.S. resident, you can start buying Bitcoin. Rolled it out. They can buy it using a debit card. And that's the key thing. By using a debit card, there's no credit involved. It's already funded. The source is already paid for. All you need to do is basically move that money and boom, it's done. Recently, I think in 2023, Strike, they updated the card where they were no longer using custodian, doing everything on their own. I think they got their own banking license. They do their own Bitcoin custody now, so everything is native. You don't rely on a third-party service. They may still use BitGo for Bitcoin custody. I would honestly have to double check on that. But they've been pretty good about doing a lot of things in-house so they can avoid third-party risks, third-party delays, and any other risks that come associated with that. And again, yes, you can use the Lightning Network. And the fact that they've expanded for all their services globally, I've been using the Fold app probably since the beginning, which was 2021, 2022 maybe. And yeah, I've been happy with it, withdrawing any Bitcoin purchased. I've not had to pay any network fees. And it's been very easy to use. The fees are less than 1% for buying Bitcoin, which if you're doing dollar cost averaging, that's fantastic. Like once I could do that, there was no way I was ever going to be doing any sort of dollar cost averaging on Coinbase again. So that was the big news with that. And the one that I'm really excited to get into is the Fold app and the Fold card. So what is the Fold app and the Fold card? The Fold app and the Fold card is basically an app, or it's essentially a rebate app. They started out by having just the app that you had on your phone, and you would connect it to a bank account, and you would fund it like a debit card, essentially, where you move funds from your bank account into your app, and you'd use that to buy gift cards. Let's see, let's go into the Fold card. We're done with you, Strike. And the Fold card. We're going to share this tab instead and bring it up. All right, the Fold card. So nope, that's their deal. So the Fold started out as just the app. And the way it would work is you would have you could buy gift cards for a lot of retailers such as Amazon, Gap, Home Depot, probably 40 or 50 different retailers, both for use online and in stores. And if you were, say, like buy it online for like Amazon, you could go online, redeem the code, and then redeem it that way. And then if you were in store, you would just use your app, and your app would either get scanned or you'd punch in the numbers yourselves. And the way the rebate works, if you've never used a rebate app, there's numerous ones out there. There's like Lolly. Ebates became Rakuten, which is a Japanese-based company. There's also Upside. There was one pay app, which that one folded a few years ago, but that was a real good one. And the idea is that with a rebate app, the company says, hey, we are this app and we've got 100,000 users. If you offer us a rebate, it's going to bring more customers into your store. And for a 1% margin or a 2% margin, whatever it be, these stores will say, yeah, we'll agree to accept these apps, because of those 100,000 of all these people that come into the store, not everyone's going to claim that percentage rebate every single time. Excuse me. Not everyone, allergies going around. Not everyone's going to use it. Not everyone's going to remember to use it. It's almost like a coupon. Sometimes you use them, sometimes you don't. But it does bring in business, because overall, with your margins, you're still going to come out ahead as a retailer. Well, with the rebate apps, essentially what they'll do is whatever the rebate is, they'll take a little slice and give a lot of it over to, as far as I'm aware, give a lot of it over to the end user, the customer, the consumer. And so we are not pre-recorded anymore. There we go. I will get this down. Early days. So the Fold card, and in this case with the Fold card, it's the same thing with the online app Lolly, which I use as well. You can use it on phone, both. Well, without going into it, the rebate, instead of being paid in cash, because what somebody's like Upside, what they'll do is you can either have the money sent to a bank account if you want to connect a bank account. You can have it paid to you via PayPal, or you can use it to purchase gift cards from online retailers or brick and mortar places. In the case of Fold app, it's paid in Bitcoin. And the thing that gets me excited, and I'm working on a video. It'll get out. I'll eventually have it done. But the nice thing, the way I put it when I'm describing the Fold app and why it's such a fantastic way to stack Bitcoin, is that the way I look at it is using both the app and the debit card, which I'll go into in a moment, is that for, let's say, I either spend $100, say Home Depot, using the Fold card, or I get a 3% rebate by buying a gift card for Home Depot and spend it that way. I'm getting $100 worth of merchandise for either $99 or $97, and Home Depot, depending on which method I use to pay, is giving me $1 or $3 worth of Bitcoin at whatever the price is at that moment. That's how I look at it, where they're paying me to stack Bitcoin. So going into the fold card, this doesn't really break it down in, let's zoom this out a little bit more. It doesn't break it down to the extent that I want to, and the video will have, but you've got 3 basic levels where you have the app, you have the basics debit card, and also what's called Spin Plus, which is sort of like a bonus program where for $10 a month or $100 a year, depending on how you want to do it, you get extra bonuses. In all cases, you will get, they have their spin wheel. So every time that you spend, you get spins where you can win anywhere between 5 sats up to an entire Bitcoin. And they're, what the prizes on the spin wheel, they're always changing it. They're always looking at different things, different promotions, expanding it. So that one's one always that's in motion. You can also earn from referrals with the debit card. Let's see. There's also a function, which is kind of stepping ahead, where you can buy Bitcoin using the app. This is similar to Strike, where you can set up dollar cost averaging purchase. You still have to move money from your bank account into your fold card, but you do, with that money, you can still set up dollar cost averaging, and the custodian is Fortress, which if you followed the news in the last 6-8 weeks, Ripple had looked into getting the buying them out, but when they saw that there was a discrepancy with, Fortress had an instance where kind of like who was it? Not BlockFi, but Prime Trust. They had an oopsie where some funds that were supposed to be there weren't there. They backed out. Now, as far as I'm aware, that had been addressed, and it wasn't anything systemic that would cause Fortress to go down. But just to be aware of third-party risk, know that Fortress does have, it's not a perfect thing, and there's always carrying some risk there. So something to keep in mind. But another thing I will go into, do we have this with the rewards program update? Okay, I'm going to jump ahead here. They just dropped this week that they're updating their rewards program. So what they're doing is, recently they started doing, I'm jumping, do they have it here? They do not have it here. Okay, I'll stick it here on this tab. What they're updating: joint accounts for family members. That means you can give your significant other, your mother, your father, your kids the cards, and while they go spend, they can build the Bitcoin stack. More merchants, and they are adding more merchants. I do not have, in the video, I'm going to have screenshots of all the different vendors, but they have significantly added, especially for the in-store purchases, a lot of merchants to it. Let's see, auto stack, recurring buys, yes. They did have a function recently where you could earn between 0.5% and 1% if you connect your card to PayPal bill pay. Like I currently have the Fold card connected to PayPal, so I have the option if I want to use my regular credit card, my bank account, or the Fold card to pay for something. Say if I'm on eBay and buying a used book, and, if it's a small dollar purchase, I might use it and just pay with the Fold card just to get that little bit extra payback in sats. Well, now they have it here. There were some issues with PayPal working it out with the bill pay, as far as, I think it was like category designation. So now you'll be able to connect your debit card to your ACH checking account. So if I'm reading this right, and if I am getting this correct, guessing correctly, what you'll be able to do is the same way you use auto pay for, say, paying your bills, like your credit card statement or your gas bill or your Netflix. You can connect pay through your checking account connected to your Fold card and still earn Bitcoin that way. That I'm very curious to see the functionality, and I'm probably going to share with that, but that's exciting. Bitcoin buying for New York and Texas residents due to special laws, etc., etc. And then I'm going to go back to this tab. So one of the nice things about the Fold card is that they're recently added in the last 6 months. They started out being flat 1% for all purchases. Then they added merchant boost. So you'd get that 1% plus they would have numerous vendors that I remember Trader Joe's was one of the first ones where you'd get an extra 1.5%. If you spent your money at different retailers, you can get an extra 0.5%, 1%, 2%, depending whatever they'd work out with that particular retailer. When they also added categories where in their categories they'd have, let's see, airline travel, maybe I can find it over here. It might be rewards program update. Awesome category boosts. Okay, category boosts. Yes, ride share, auto, entertainment. With the category boost, exactly. In addition to the 1% baseline, you get the additional. So for anything on that the credit card and your Visa network where the retailer is considered entertainment, movies, sports tickets, travel, airline tickets, train tickets, ride share, digital games. If you buy games on Steam, that counts. Restaurants and bars, anything that is a restaurant or bar that serves alcohol or food, ride share and taxis. I think that includes transit as well. And then you can really boost it up where on top of your 1%, you get a merchant boost, you get a category boost, you really get the extra bonus paid back in Bitcoin. And the nice thing about this is that going back to the original spin tab is that if you have the spin plus, you're guaranteed to get a 0.5% boost for anything that's not within a merchant boost or a category boost. So if you are able to use spend enough money in at least, I want to say $10, $1,000, or depending on what you get for the gift cards, if you're going to end up getting more than $10 a month in Bitcoin, you need to do the math, but it's worthwhile. And even if it's break even, you have to think, if you're looking long term, that $10 today, that might be worth $20 tomorrow in Bitcoin or $30 in Bitcoin tomorrow. So if you're thinking accumulation, it's a great way to look at it. And the nice thing about Fold is that you can stack it and then it builds over, and just an easy way to build over time. And then the new news, boom, boom, boom. They just got Target to try and get more business. You now have 5% back paid in Bitcoin at Target. Target. That's crazy. So whatever it is, yeah, you're getting over at Target. So yeah, that new news dropping this week. The team over at Strike, they keep killing it. They're doing ways to add the options for financial security, financial independence, and keeping monetary transactions cheap and to accumulate Bitcoin. And both of them, Strike has this feature, and then I think Fold is going to have this feature too. Was you could have, like say you have a regular job, you could have your payroll check. Essentially, you can get yourself paid in Bitcoin. And the mechanics of it is that Strike, you would, when you set up your ACH payroll, you would have it go to Strike's bank. The money would go to them. They would then send the money over to your account, and whatever percentage you wanted to get paid in Bitcoin, that would get spent purchasing Bitcoin, and then the rest of it would just be US dollars. And then you'd have to use it to move it to wherever you want to your own bank account. That changed over the last couple of years, where I think they may have gotten their own banking license. So I have to look at that and see what the mechanics are different. And I think Fold Card is doing the same thing, where you could get yourself paid in Bitcoin. I haven't looked into that, and I'll have to see what happens when they roll it out. And the team also at Fold has been really good about listening to community feedback, things that people want, vendors, features, so that it's not just catering to the Fold or the Spin Plus people, but to all users. And they've always been changing things up and always innovating. And in the last 6 months, they've just been adding more vendors, adding new vendors, and it's fantastic to use. Yeah, it's been great. So that was the exciting thing. So wrapping up again, I want to say thanks for joining. Keep your eyes open. I will have that Fold video, which would be a full regular instructional video, coming down the pipeline. And this weekend, we've got the weekend updates hitting on Sunday. Got shorts sharing some insights and things to think about. You can follow Tiny Crypto Blog on all the social media sites listed in the show notes. And I think that wraps it up. So be well, everyone. Talk to you soon.